Well, we are sure living in perilous times, but there is hope, and the hope is in Jesus Christ. That's the only place we need to look to now, because what we're seeing unfolding on the world scene right now is speaking to that. You can go in Luke 21, you can go in Matthew 24, you can go to Revelation 6, and there we will find some clear markers to what situation that we are finding ourselves in right now. So there is this education project called the Genocide Education Project by Dr. Gregory H. Stanton, a professor at Mary Washington University and the vice president of the International Association of Genocide Scholars 2006. Stanton also leads Genocide Watch, a non-profit organization dedicated to the fight against genocide. 10 Stages of Genocide was originally written in 1996 at the U.S. Department of State as the eighth stage of genocide, presented at the Yale University Center for International and Area Studies in 1998 and revised in 2013. The 10 stages of genocide is a formula how a society can engage in genocide. Genocide cannot be committed by an individual or a small group. Rather, it takes a cooperation of large numbers of people and the state. The genocidal process starts with the prejudice that continues to grow. By knowing the stages of genocide, citizens are better equipped to identify the warning signs and stop the process from continuing. The 10 stages of genocide: classification, civilization, discrimination, dehumanization, organization, polarization, preparation, persecution, extermination, and denial. So we can go on the first one here. Genocide is a process that develops in 10 stages that are predictable but not what? In what? How do you pronounce that bloody word? Inexorable? Inexorable. I've never seen that word before. Oh, I don't know what it means. Let me find that out if I can. Yeah, we need to know that. Maybe some of you out there don't know it either. So let's go have a look at that. What does it mean? Oh, impossible to stop or prevent. Okay. At each stage, preventive measures can stop it. The later stages must be preceded by earlier stages, though earlier stages continue to operate throughout the process. Classification. All cultures have categories to distinguish people into us and them by ethnicity, race, religion, and nationality. German and Jew, Hutu and Tutsi, that is South Africa, in case you don't know. Uh, if societies are too segregated, divided, they're most likely to have genocide. The main way of preventing genocide in the early stage is to develop opportunities in a society for people to work and live together who are different of ethnic, social, national, or religious backgrounds. This will allow people to become more tolerant and understanding of each other. Uh, in the United States, public schools serve this function as they are places where all young people can go regardless of their ethnic, social, national, or religious backgrounds. This search for common ground is vital to early prevention of genocide. And this is exactly, and I myself is unfortunately, and I learned a valuable lesson today that I myself has engaged in classification such as Democrats. They are this and they are that. This is this is not the right way to go about it. I mean, everybody can have their opinions, and everybody has the right to their opinions. Everybody has the right to their dreams, their hopes, their wishes, and also their fears. And I think that it's been especially promoted by such as terror attacks. It started in 2001, where it started before that, but on the homeland of America, it began in 2001 for real. This set the stage of us and them. There was us, and then there was the Muslim fundamentalists or the radicals, the terrorists. And if we remember Carol Rose, I think her name was, who worked for Werner von Braun, he was talking about this, that he was talking about terrorism, that that would be one of the cards played out against humanity. And this is exactly what happened. But we're also seeing it now, or we've seen it in the beginning of 2020 with all the riots because of this, disgusting creep putting his knee on. Well, he was not innocent, but nevertheless, no man has the right to treat another human being in that form or fashion. I don't care what you think and what you don't think. The man should have been put in the back of the police car and held there until, witness reports and stuff, and then take him away and book him. But that did not take place, and the result of that was we had an unfortunate, and yet not, but we did have a segregation. Now it's kind of like black people and white people are looking over their shoulders. They're looking at each other with some sort of disgust because we got a Marxist group running around calling themselves Black Lives Matters. That makes the black community look bad. And then we have a group of white people call themselves Antifa, making white people look bad in the eyes of the black people. And then we got this classification going on right here, and segregation taking place at the same process. Plus, we also see which states in this country are sympathizing with them, such as we saw especially in Oregon, where these group of people were allowed to take up a part of the city and claim it as theirs. You remember the CHOP? I mean, they had their own local police force in there, and murders actually took place at the site of CHOP. No court, nothing. Someone just got murdered. That happened in Atlanta too. A little 8-year-old girl was on her way home from I think it was a birthday party. And Black Lives Matter opened fire on the passing vehicle and killed the girl in it. Killed one of their own. But, no one is really thinking about what the heck they're doing. I mean, they're just acting out. And this is something that is very important. It is like this. When humans react on emotions, their actions become irrational. And one thing that our, I would say, corporate CIA news network, such as CNN, CBS, MSNBC, a lot of them, they are in on it. These people are not reporters. These people are agents. And what they're doing is they're presenting a false narrative. And what they're doing when they presented this false narrative, they're appealing to your emotions because they want this chaos so they can create order out of chaos. It's an old known trick. Or we can also look at it as the Hegelian dialect: problem, reaction, solution. They create the problem. We have a reaction, and they come with solution that is draconian to put more stricter laws down upon us. And now we find out that not my president is, I don't have a president for that matter. I don't trust politicians, period. But he's already talking with China and UN about this long process, which is called the Small Arms Treaty. So now, the not my president is going to create precedents to try and take Americans' right to carry a firearm, meaning taking away the Second Amendment. And that cannot be done, but they are going to enforce it. So on that, I can just say be ready. Be ready for it. And fight if you must. Because this is, unfortunately, as we stand right now, our only way of sustaining ourselves and defending ourselves against tyranny and against genocide. And black people, white people, Hispanics, we need to come together. We need to come together in the realization that God is in control. He is allowing this to happen because humanity, for the longest time now, has shaken their fist against God and denied His sovereignty, that He is our Father. He is the one who created us in His image. And He did not wish for us to become what we have become of today. So, not to go away from this subject, but Barbara Marx Hubbard, look what she says here. 1/4 of humanity must be eliminated from the social body. We are in charge of God's selection process for planet Earth. He selects, we destroy. We are the riders of the pale horse, death. Did you catch that? He don't select. He allows this to happen because we have turned our back against Him. Therefore, He's allowing it. And He's allowing it in the hope that you, who is listening to this, or many other places listening to reason, is going to wake up. Like I say, I shake trees, and hopefully some monkeys fall down and hit their head and wake up to the fact that we are facing a very non-compassionate, no empathy group of people who wants nothing but to have us murdered in the form of genocide. And genocide will unfold, unfortunately. But even though, that don't mean you have to stick out your hands and say, put on the shackles. I'm ready to go to your camp to be having my head cut off. You have the right to fight for your freedom. What I'm saying now, I'm not going to say it again, but you better listen. If you want any form of success, even if it's short-lived, and serve other people well, there can be no self-service. It's not every man for themselves. It is every man for each other. And you have to have God with you. If you don't have God with you, you are doing self-service. Service. Meaning, just getting borrowed time, and then you trust someone, and that one you trust kill you. Or you're going out on a rampage doing like BLM and Antifa, doing stuff like that, and you're going to be put down like a dog. That's not what you want. You want God's blessing for you to be successful. And it's been proven again and again and again through the Bible that every time that the Israelites went up against God, He put them on hardship until they were restored. And then He blessed them. And this is how it works. If you are an unruly child, your parents are going to put you under house arrest, if you like. You're grounded. Your privileges are taken from you. No PlayStation, no TV. You can sit in your room, do your homework. You cannot go down and play football with your friends or basketball with your friends until you figure out and can explain what you did wrong and what you can do better. So we need to stand together on this, because the enemy that we are all facing do not care about your skin color. They care about this. We destroy. That is what they want. This is rubbish. This is like mocking God, because God loves you. If He didn't love you, He wouldn't be here. He would speak us all out of existence and destroy this planet we call Earth, our home, by His voice. Because in the beginning, that was the Word. And He said, let there be light, and there was light. He spoke it into existence. In the end of the Bible, He also says that the world will pass away, but His word never. Symbolization. We give names and other symbols to classifications of ethnicity, race, religion, nationality. We name people Jews, Gypsies, or distinguish them by color or dress, and apply them to members of groups, classification and symbolization, and other universal human, and do not necessarily result in genocide unless they lead to a stage of dehumanization when combined with hatred. Symbols may be forced upon unwilling members of minority groups: the yellow star for Jews under Nazi rule, the blue scarf for people from the eastern zone of Khmer Rouge in Cambodia. Sometimes we impose symbols on ourselves, like gangs using certain colors that is in the group's right, but sometimes backfires when they are discriminated against. To combat symbolism, hate symbols can legally be forbidden, swastikas, as can hate speech, group marking like gang clothing or tribal scarring or scaring can be outlawed as well. God, my throat just messed up there. 2 seconds. And I have coffee to drink. Yeah. That was good. Clear my throat. The problem with legal restrictions will fail if unsupported by society. Sometimes we outlaw certain names, but hate exists. New names will just take their place. It's widely supported. However, denial of symbolization can be powerful, as it was in Bulgaria when many non-Jews choose to wear the yellow star, depriving it of its importance as a Nazi symbol for Jews. According to legend, in Denmark, that's my homeland, the Nazis did not introduce the yellow star because they knew even the king would wear it. Yeah, Denmark might be a small little country, but you don't piss on a Viking, they're gonna retaliate. And they fought the Nazis in every single way they could. They blew up their railroad tracks so they couldn't transport their equipment to Norway or that way up through Denmark. They forced the Danish laborers to build bunkers, uh, cannon batteries on the west coast of Jutland. And instead of doing it the right way, they mixed in with the cement sugar because they knew that the salt water from the Western Ocean would quickly, uh, yeah, make these bunkers crumble. All kinds of uh, underground work was done in order to try and slow them down, or at least make it very, very difficult for them having an occupation in my homeland. And it's always been like that in the Danish backbone. That is, if they are oppressed, they're not putting their hands out to have the shackles put on them, fighting back. Not necessarily by go out and waging war against their enemy, but they're going to do whatever it takes to make it as hard and miserable for them as possible. That's the right way to combat an enemy. Make it living hell for them. That works. That works real good. In the 11th century in Spain, the Ottoman Empire, or Turkey, invaded Spain, and they went about to rape, molest, killing, destroying everything in their path, which in the end made the king of Spain at that point in time to say, okay, this is how they are going to occupy us by destroying our country, and we are going to fight brutality with brutality. And when that decree was sent by the king to the homeland through, underground sources, it didn't take more than 2 years before the Turks were driven out of Spain, running with their tail between their legs, because you don't piss off Spaniards. When they fight for their life, that's not an enemy you would like to approach. They're gonna be like a wild lion. This goes the same with the Hispanic people in this country. You come to their neighborhood and piss on them, they're gonna come after you with machetes, and they would think twice about it. They take care of their family. They protect their family. They got another mindset than white people and black people. They take care of each other, even though they also got their problems. But they take care of each other in a good sense, even if it could be brutal. Absolutely. They got a family unit that is far stronger than you pretty much see anywhere in the world. That title goes to the Hispanics. It's all about family. And it comes down to the nitty gritty, it comes about the community. They're going to stand together. That's a group of people in this country we need. We need them. They are a good ally. So, discrimination. A dominant group uses law, custom, and political power to deny the rights of other groups. The powerless group may not be given full civil rights, not even citizenship. Well, full civil rights. Remember the segregation period in the 60s, 50s, especially the 60s in the United States of America, which gave the rise to, well, it's disputed. I don't know for sure. Many say that Martin Luther King, that he was a socialist communist, and I don't know that. And I'm not going to try and look for evidence for that because it's very difficult to trust anything that you read today, anywhere. It is so easy, like this document here, this PDF file. It is so easy for those who have the rights for this web page to go in and do annotations or editing on it. And then another group of people decide to look at it, and then they get a completely different description of what really was the truth to begin with. That is so easy. So today it is very, very difficult to show discernment on the information that you are given. Well, one thing you can discern for being the truth, that is God loves you. He don't wish you harm, but you asking to harm yourself. And he's allowing it because you are wanting it so bad apparently you can't get your head straight and take your finger out your butt cheeks and realize what is going on around you. And realize that he is Lord, King of Kings. He rules. He's in control. As long as you're denying that, he's allowing this. So, examples include Nuremberg laws in 1935 in Nazi Germany, which stripped Jews from their German citizenship and prohibited their employment by government, by universities. Prevention against discrimination means full political empowerment and citizenship rights for all groups in society. Discrimination is the basis of national ethnicity, race, and religion should be outlawed. Individuals should have the right to sue the state, corporations, and other individuals if their rights are violated. See, that again comes back to this one, classification. That is again, you're saying, oh, it's the blacks. Oh, no, it's the whites. Oh, no, it's the Democrats. No, it's the Republicans. This is exactly what it is. So, all you Trump supporters out there, you're looking negatively on the Democrats and the liberals in this country, thinking about them as being lowlifes. And by that, you're actually exuding hate against someone that God loves. Because He loves all of us. And He has, from the fall of Garden of Eden, given us the right to have free choice. So anybody can be what they are. But He don't love you any less. Even though you're committing whatever crime you're committing, He still loves you. And He still wishes you come back. That you restore yourself and come back. And even I have been there, and I'm not there anymore. Where I really had this nagging irritation over liberals. I mean, their ideology is wrong, but that don't mean that the human being is a bad human being. That human being is perfectly capable of loving, being compassionate, have empathy. And in the end, they all got wishes, they all got dreams, hopes, and fears, like everybody else. So there's no Trump supporters out there that is any better than the liberals, if that's what you think you are. You're not. You're a child of God. End of story. Everybody is equal in His eyes. That's the reference point you should take from now on, right this moment. Or else we cannot come together, right? Then we will be in classification again. We will be in symbolization again. We will stay there because we are discriminating. You see, it all hangs together. You can't just take one thing and look at it. You have to look at the big picture. And that is by zooming out and look down on the entire landscape and see where all the problem areas are and what can you do to improve, to lessen those problems. And this is the famous saying that John F. Kennedy, he said, ask not what your country can do for you, but ask what you can do for your country. And you are doing nothing for your country if you are on the discrimination part. What you're doing if you are discriminating, classifying, and putting symbols on people, you are serving the devil's work. You become a minion of him, the evil one. And then you might as well just put your arms out and have the shackles put on you. At least you will be put in some place where you won't harm anybody, except maybe yourself. Because there's no room for that. It gotta end. It got to stop. There will only be a remnant left when Christ comes back of humanity. Question is, are you going to try with Him to be one of those that is still standing? if you're not taken, meaning the rapture. Which is a discussion I don't want to have with anybody because some say it's going to be at that point in time, and it's going to be in that point of time, and in this point of time. And I know that we're getting close to it, but I am not going to sit down and say, oh, it's going to be pre-tribulation. Oh, no, it's going to be in the middle. Oh, no. That is a completely irrelevant thing to discuss amongst Christians. All you should focus on is Him. Look up, for your redemption draw nigh. That's a commandment. When you see these things coming to pass, look up, for your redemption draw nigh. That's a commandment He's giving you. It's not a suggestion. He's telling you have to do that. Like He said in the end, before He left for good, before His return, in the end, He said, love one another like I loved you. And then He also said, go out into the world and spread the gospel. The gospel, translated, means good news, hope. So let's come together on this, because the enemy has already set their sights on destroying us. Pretty much all of us. And the real quest for that started with the pandemic in 2020. The snowball is rolling down the hill, getting bigger and bigger and bigger. If you want to stop that snowball, take God with you. Amen. If you don't live, at least you're going home. That's something to look forward to. Going home. Dehumanization. Dehumanization is when one group treats another group as a second-class citizen, that we have seen in America back in the civil rights movement, that white people look down upon black people, which is discrimination, it's classification, and it's dehumanizing, and it simply don't have any room anywhere, especially if you believe in God. And there are even pastors out there that is dehumanizing, that is not doing what God intended them for, having the job that they have as spreading the gospel. We've seen it in many places. We're also seeing pastors that is not exactly preaching the gospel. They're more like sooth talking, sweet talking, putting people to sleep. We cannot be asleep. The enemy is at our doorstep. The devil runs around on the planet, roaring like a lion, seeking whom he might devour. Did you get that? That's why we cannot be asleep. No. Members of persecuted group may be compared with animals, parasites, insects, and diseases. When a group of people is thought of less human, it is easier for the group to control and to murder. At this stage, hate propaganda in print and hate on radios is used to make victims seem like villains. And this is exactly what is going on in the mainstream media. It is the Trump supporters. They are the extremists now in the eyes of the New World Order. We are the bad seed, and we need to be dealt with. This is here where the Small Arms Treaty comes in. They're going to try and take law-abiding citizens' weapons away from them so they are not able to defend themselves against the evil one. You see? And we have Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez really running down that street, basically calling Republicans animals, parasites, insects, or disease of this nation. All I can say to her, that is, that every time, Alexandria, you look yourself in the mirror, you're looking at an empty shell. You have nothing to offer. You have no compassion. You got no empathy. You don't even know God. And that is sad for you. It is very sad for you. But I guess that is the price you pay when you are being mentored by Hillary Clinton, who is a witch, per definition. She gave the White House a serious problem with security issues because she constantly had to go to California and meet up with her vicars for her spirit cooking and her chanting and whatever they're doing. Witches, when they meet up. I have no idea what they're doing. I don't care what they're doing. I just know it's evil. So she took all that was left of you of grain of hope and turned you into an empty shell. I hope when you look at yourself in the mirror, Ocasio, that you can see I'm right. And you're trying to crawl out of that hole you have dug for yourself. And look up. Because he's looking down at you and he loves you. Even though. So, at this stage, hate propaganda in print on hate radio is used. And again, as I said, got a little off track. We are seeing that unfolding on our national news network. What they are calling people, the journalists or whatever they call themselves, they're not journalists. They are, as I say, CIA operative, military operative, sitting and posing in suit and dresses as tight as they can possibly get on the women. And then they're sitting there and condemning, giving us their so-called personal view, like Whoopi Goldberg on The View. That kind of people we should not listen to. Because this is exactly what they're doing. They're playing on your emotions. So now they are trying to promote hate against Republicans. Even the FBI former director, Comey, says that the Republican Party must be burned to the ground or changed. Changed into what? That he's not defining. But you hear the rhetoric right here. Hate against you who love your country. And in the end, it don't matter if you are a Republican or you are a liberal. They all have the same idea of what your fate is to be. And that was pretty much played out right there. Right there. We destroy. We are the riders of the pale horse, death. So this is what's going on. One must, in fighting this dehumanization, one must remember that there is no right of freedom of speech to tell people to commit murder. Outlawing hate speech can help save life of those targeted. If a country is on the verge of committing genocide, it is no longer a democracy, if it was before. And the broad freedom of speech protected in all democracy may need to be limited in such country. Hate radio stations should be shut down and hate propaganda banned. Hate crimes and atrocities should be promptly punished. So hate radio stations, TV station for that matter, should be shut down. That means we will no longer have Fox News, we will no longer have MSNBC, CNN, CBS, ABC. We will no longer have them. Because that is exactly what they are spewing out to you. Preying on your emotions so you commit irrational actions that is serving their good, not yours. And we also see now, or seen for a while, that big tech, Google, Facebook, Twitter, sogar Amazon is getting their finger in it. And also businesses such as Kohl's, Bed Bath & Beyond, Kroger, is chipping in on this crap. Banning people. That if you have anything to say that is against the narrative, meaning that you are not agreeing to the socialist experiment, you are no longer welcome on Twitter, you're no longer welcome on Facebook. If you post anything that is contrary to the narrative, they are going to ban you, or they're going to take your stuff down, or as YouTube do, put you in YouTube prison for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or they'll just terminate your account for just simply having an opinion. But the opinion do not compute with their opinion, because their CEOs are all socialists. Should we just call them for what they are, communists? It doesn't matter. The difference between communism and socialism is pretty simple. Socialism is tyranny by vote. Communism is tyranny by the barrel of a gun. End result, tyranny. Period. There is no difference. The only difference is how it's carried out. It all leads to the same goal, tyranny. Organization. Genocide is always organized, usually by the state. Sometimes informally or by terrorist groups. Special army units or militias are often trained and armed plans are made for genocidal killings. Watch your six, people. To combat this stage, membership of the militia should be outlawed. Their leaders should not be allowed to travel outside their country where they may be able to raise funds or get weapons. The UN should enforce arms embargoes. UN should be abolished. It should be driven out of New York City. Bye-bye. And government and citizens of countries involved in genocidal massacres and create commissions to investigate violations, as was done in the post-genocide in Rwanda. Oh man, that was bad. That was real bad. That was insane. The reports, that was before mainstream media really become lying mainstream media. The reports I got back in Denmark, what was going on in London, that was downright horrible. It was very disturbing to see the footage of whole villages just macheted to death from another group. Again, classification. I mean, that's horrible. It happened during the Armenian genocide too. I mean, these people were Christians, and because they were Christians living in a Ottoman Empire, Ottoman or Muslim rule, heavy and steep taxes was put upon them, and all kinds of difficulties were laid in their path of their way of living, and they were highly segregated, they were classified, there were classification, discrimination, dehumanization, and in the end, blood was flowing down the streets. Millions of people were murdered. By another group of people who believe that Allah is the true God, and if you're against that, they have the right to kill you because you're an infidel. That's absurd, but that's how it is. This is the horrible truth to it. Unfortunately, it is. So, number 6, polarization. Extremists drive the groups apart. Hate groups broadcast propaganda that reinforces prejudice and hate. Laws may forbid intermarriage or social interaction between the groups. Extremist terrorism targets moderates and intimidates them so that they are silent. Moderate leaders are those who are able to prevent genocide, and they are often the first to be assassinated. So, you can kind of say that that is something that is in the political arena right now is unfolding. That they want to assassinate one person only for the moment, and that is the former President Trump. They are planning on putting him on trial for inciting the violence that took place on January 6th, which he did not incite. The proof is there. He told us to go home. That's what he did. He told them to go home. He did not say, come to Washington. I'll let you ride in. I have even seen footage where these people that was let in were let in by the police force. They just opened the gates for them and let them bloody in because they were told to do so. And why? Because they wanted Republicans to look bad. They wanted Trump to look bad. And they had this plan that Trump should be completely destroyed. That he should never ever be able to run for office again. But all they're doing is making him into a martyr. That one they did not exactly plan too well. There are still 80 plus million people who support him in this country. And if they coil a hair on his head, I am not trying to guess what the reaction is going to be from certain people. It's probably not going to be pretty. And then the snowball is growing even bigger. Because then people start reacting emotionally again and again and again. And I am bloody freaking tired of people's emotional reactions. There is no reasoning. There is no rational thinking. There is just, let's go out and burn some buildings. Let's smash some stores in our own community because we are upset. Not realizing that those people you are destroying's business by burning them down, those stores you have been shopping at, socializing in them, and you are destroying someone who is there working every day, making a living, providing for his family. You are destroying his ability to provide for you too, because you are an emotional little beep who can't get his head out of his butt and think straight. Prevention may mean security protection for moderate leaders or assistance to humane rights groups. Assets, money, property of extremists must be seized, and opportunities for international travel denied to them. If extremists try to take over the government, then international sanctions should be put in place. I know for a fact that Antifa members and Black Lives Matters, members of them dressed up as MAGA supporters and entered the government buildings in Washington on January 6th. I've seen the footage. I have shown you the footage. But as long as our mainstream media and personalities such as Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, the empty shell, is promoting, and Comey for that matter too, and what is his name, Brennan, promoting this kind of rhetoric, we're having a problem. In this case, I would call them the extremists. It's not the voters. It is those who are supporting socialism, communism. Because communism is extremism. That always leads to genocide. Look around. Russia, or the Soviet Union as it became, China, North Korea, Cambodia, Vietnam, Cuba, Chile, Peru, Venezuela a little, but it didn't really unfold. It fell on itself. And Idi Amin in Uganda, millions of people slaughtered for the plan for the final solution, to complete control over humanity. So that's what leads to this one. 7. Preparation. National or perpetrator group leaders plan the final solution to the Jewish, Armenian, Tutsi, or other targeted group question. They often use euphemism to cloak their intentions, such as referring to their goals as ethnic cleansing, purification. Purification, exactly as the Hopi prophecy says that the final time in their prophecies, at the end, for them the end too, they call it the Great Purification. And I know what they're talking about. They're talking about a reduction of 95% of the human race. And that's got to be carried out. And it's going to be the end result before Jesus comes. That don't mean we have to just sit down on a flat butt and do nothing. In all this, we have to spread the gospel. We have to spread the good news. We have to stand up for humanity, no matter what the cost. Let's just put your hands out and get the shackles on. Go to the nearest FEMA camp. Get your head cut off. Whatever. You're useless to anybody. Or counterterrorism. They build armies, buy weapons, and train their troops and militias. They indoctrinate the populace with fear of victim groups. Yeah, we've seen that. Leaders of claim. If we don't kill them, they will kill us. Oh, we will get to that. That's going to be probably not too long that the mainstream CIA PSYOP operation is going to launch an all-out verbal and physical attack on any remaining Republicans in this country. Because this is exactly what Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is alluding to. Exactly what she's alluding to. She's not saying it directly, but if you listen carefully to what she says, this is exactly what she's saying. If we don't get them, they will get us. She's a scared little girl. Very scared little girl. Prevention of preparation may include arms embargoes and commissions to enforce them. It should include prosecution of incitement and conspiracy to commit genocide, both crimes under Article 3 of the Genocide Convention. I can assure you President Trump did not incite to insurrection as they want to prosecute him on the 6th. And he did not conspire to commit genocide. They got nothing to go on. They got nothing on him. But they're going to fabricate something. They want him taken down and make him into a martyr. Hi, girl. And then we got persecution. Victims are identified and separated out because of their ethnic, religious identity. Death lists are drawn up. In state-sponsored genocide, members of victim groups may be forced to wear identifying symbols, which will, be when it comes to the needle thing. We're all supposed to wear a mask, right? That signify to them by all their facial recognition software they have placed everywhere, and even in Walmart, all over the place. Can't walk anywhere without having your face looked upon and what you're doing. But wearing a mask is a symbol of compliance. When you have received the needle, you have no longer the need for wearing a mask. Okay. So those who still wearing their mask would be singled out as being in defiance of the needle. See how that works? That works pretty good. Just wait. Okay. To wear identifying symbols. Their property is often confiscated. Sometimes they are even segregated into ghettos, deported into concentration camps. We've got 800 FEMA camps in this country. And the barbed wire is pointing inwards, meaning no one leaves when they go in there. So they're not for, you say, emergency situation, such as national disaster or something like that? No. Why would there be barbed wire pointing inwards? NATO barbed wire with Spanish writers on them, meaning if you try to crawl up and through those, you would be cut into pieces. They're razor sharp. I have been in contact with them when I was a soldier in Denmark. They are not funny. Don't even think about it. You're not getting through it without bleeding to death. That's what they're designed to do. Cut you up. They are a great deterrent for an escape attempt, that's for sure. You're not gonna get through it. You will die, bleed out. They are acts of genocide because they intentionally destroy part of group. At this stage, a genocide emergency must be declared. If the political will of great powers, regional alliances, I don't want to talk about UN, United Nations of Socialism, Security Council may be mobilized. And it's funny, right? In 2008, we had a communist taking office. He is a communist. He's the son of Frank Marshall, who was a flaming radical communist. His mom was a CIA operative. He received the Nobel Peace Prize. And he also became not national security. He became in the UN. What the heck was it? Oh man! Well, he became, the highest bloody person in there. And according to the law of United States, if you're having the office of president, you can't have a seat anywhere else. But he did. That's illegal. That's punishable by law, by imprisonment. That's a violation of national security. But no one seemed to care. And of course, the lamestream did not speak to it. Because when those people who are in office, that they want in office, all they're talking about is, oh, how sweet their children are. Oh, Joe Biden's dogs, how pretty, how cute they are. They're not talking about what the person in the office is doing. But if we got someone in office that is not part of the so-called narrative, oh man, they're busy. Trying to dig up as much dirt they can. They're not digging up dirt, they're fabricating dirt. To segregate, to discriminate, to classify, and put us up against each other. It works beautiful. And then I have a problem here with that. Because I don't trust politicians. I don't trust man, period. In the world we're living in today, it is very difficult to trust anybody. And we should be able to trust each other in order to help each other through these hard times that we are facing. But it's difficult. Because it's been put in our minds that this group over there, that group over there, oh man, they're bad. Antifa is bad. Black Lives Matters are bad. Period. But they're a tiny little handful compared to the vast amount of people there is in this country. We can deal with them. easy, can silence them to death, meaning they just dissolve and go away, not giving them the attention that they want. Ooh, gone. But what I wanted to say, what if it is like this? Trump was put in office in order to get people out of the woodwork, to find out who their true enemies are, who they need to round up, or maybe even assassinate on sight. Such as I already know from a former CIA agent that I talked personally to. He said to me, he said he didn't care anymore because he was a dying man and he didn't care. He was ready to go meet his maker, meaning God. He told me that they already know and have the orders that everybody over the age of 45 years old, when they come knocking at your door, is going to be shot on sight. No questions asked. They know who you are. They have your picture from your driver's license, your passport, or where else they got an image of you. They know where to find you. They're going to kill anybody over the age of 45 years old, because we are that group of people that is still asking questions. We are not gullible little twits. We ask questions. They can't have that. We just need to be compliant. And they know we won't be. Oh yeah, they know we won't be. So they are gonna shoot us. So I have a target on my back. Oh well, you're all gonna die someday, right? Ain't gonna worry about it. But I'm just telling you. So if you are over the age of 45 years old and you're sitting there in your chair, listening to my voice, and you're pointing your fist against God, you might want to take that hand down and find God before they come and shoot you at your doorstep. You get my point? 9. Extermination. Extermination begins and quickly becomes the mass killing legally called genocide. It is extermination to the killers because they do not believe in their victims to be fully human. See, dehumanization, like you are an animal, you are an insect, you are, just nothing. When it's sponsored by the government, the armed forces often work with private armies to do the killing. Watch out for that. So when this begins, you could be walking down the street and then you receive a bullet in your back. No one knows where the shot came from. You just drop dead on the street. No one even heard the shot. Or they just walk right up to you and know exactly where to put a knife in you to make sure you bleed out. I know those spots in the human body that will be a sure killer. They're very simple. There is on the left side of the neck, the jugular, the main artery to your brain. There under your armpit on left arm. There is down in the right thigh, the transition between your thigh and your femur, not your femur, your pelvis. That vein going through there is an artery. You put a knife there, puncture it. No one survives it. It can't be survived. You're dead. Period. Dead. If you hit a a vein, there's a chance you can live. But if you hit an artery, okay, you have your arteries on your wrist, but that takes 4 minutes, and you can actually be safe on those two. But the one in the neck, the one under your armpit, left arm, and the one down on your right leg and pelvic, that artery there, if that one is severed, you're dead. 20 seconds. You're gone. Not survivable. Sorry. Fact. When it's sponsored by the government, the armed forces will work private armies to do the killing. Sometimes the genocide results in revenge killings by groups against each other, creating the downward whirlpool-like cycle of brutal genocide where victims usually are actually organized and commit a second genocide on the perpetrators. You see, it just becomes a vicious circle. And it's out of control. At this stage, only rapid and overwhelming armed intervention can stop a genocide. And I don't want to talk about UN again. Screw them. I know what they are. They are not in our best interest. So I don't want to talk about them. So, denial. Denial is the 10th stage that always follows genocide. It is among the surest indicators of further genocidal massacres. The perpetrators of genocide dig up mass graves, burn the bodies, try to cover up evidence, and intimidate the witnesses. They deny that they have committed any crime, often blame what happened on the victims. They block investigations of the crimes and continue to govern until driven from power by force when they flee into exile. Leaders of the genocide continue to deny the crime unless they are captured and a tribunal, special court, is established to try them. The best response to denial is punishment by an international tribunal or national court. There the evidence can be heard and the perpetrators punished. Tribunals or international courts must be created. They may not prevent the worst genocidal killers, but at least some mass murders may be brought to justice. The 10th one is, of course, a reality, but where we are now, that one is not going to happen. There will be no tribunal. There will be no international courts. Because all governments are all in on it. They want this new world order. And they complicitly accept the genocide to be carried out on the vast majority of the populace of planet Earth. They are all in on it. Every single one of them. Those who are not, they're just going to be wiped off the map. Those who's not for this global reset coming up, they're just going to be wiped off the map. Bye-bye. We heard your opinion, and here's our answer. Dead. That's how it goes. That's how communism operates. Tyranny by the barrel of a gun. You do not comply, you don't show your papers fast enough, they pop you. How it is? This is what we're looking at. So, my encouragement is, there's a couple of links you can follow underneath the video here. And I strongly suggest you go bloody listen to it. And listen to the end. And even though you don't like to hear about God and so on, you still need to hear this. You understand that? That's a commandment I'm giving you. You bloody sit down and you listen. Clear? If you don't, you're gonna miss out big time, and you're gonna be in the dark if you don't listen. This is gonna open your eyes wide open. And your eyes, when you're done, has never been more open than they will be after you listen to it. I guarantee you that. And then I hope that you get on your knees. And then you'll restore yourself. Because we are all, every single one of us, in the same sinking ship. That you got to get through your head. So I hope by this little presentation here that I have shaken the trees and monkeys fell down and hit their heads and woke up and start listening and taking the information that is there for you, as long as they are there for you. So you better act quickly, because this kind of information is going to go away. It is in the end going to be a capital crime to have possession of that kind of information. That's communism for you. That's how it works. So, over and out. God bless you.